Ed, and Eddy was, according to information now known, the last cartoon produced in the 1990s to have aired on Cartoon Network in the late 2000s. Throughout that decade-long era of implementation and showing of the various episodes, it became a highly respected cartoon, and aspects of the series are still discussed among those who had seen the show when originally broadcasted, and those who had seen the series in the years or decades after. But the speculative scenario is this: the most infamous joke in Ed, and Eddy. In season 3 episode 3 Squares and an Ed, the episode had Ed in his room, while Double D and Eddy are wondering where he was, and the both of them venture to his home to see what the situation is. Unable to enter his residence, the both of them try to find another way into Ed's basement room, where they naturally find him. Apparently, he is being punished by not being allowed to leave his room. Ed dismisses the punishment when Double D mentions that Ed should basically remain in his room to deal with the punishment. Eddy convinces Double D to help free Ed, as the three later head out to the stairway to walk out of the basement and back into the house itself. Eddy notices that the stairs are completely gone, and the doorway back to the house is out of reach for any of them. Eddy is gobsmacked at the sight, and Double D remarked about how disturbing it was that the entire stairway is removed, just to make sure that Ed remains in the basement area. Throughout the circumstances, the episode continues on and eventually ends. By popular opinion, the missing stairs was the most acknowledged joke or incident in the entire series. According to in-canon lore on details for the cartoon, this was arguably the only instance of an event occurring in an episode which was later mentioned or depicted multiple times by dialogue on through occurrence in later episodes or even seasons after 3 Squares and an Ed. Occasionally passing references were made to Double D and Eddy, sometimes being hesitant about going into Ed's basement room, or if the stairs were able to be stepped upon due to them being completely removed, as such when Ed needed to be confined to the lower levels of his residence. It was later acknowledged that due to Ed's nature, that when he was punished, the severity of the punishments were considered to be extreme for any other child in the cul-de-sac, but naturally acceptable for Ed. As to what the stairs represented or the gag humor which was depicted by the missing stairs was later interpreted differently by those who had seen the episode. Technically, it was never really explained as to what Ed had done in order for the stairs to have been removed temporarily for that particular punishment. Various theories were later presented to help explain why such a drastic punishment was needed. One of the most prevalent assumptions had to do with Ed's own angry outbursts of emotion, the entire pebble in the shoe concept. So stairs being removed was a method of punishment, but also so Ed wouldn't be able to harm potentially any other member of his family due to his superhuman strength. According to the lore in the series, others speculated that Ed might have been set up for something that he did not necessarily do. Basically, Sarah did something and blamed Ed. Due to Sarah being slightly favored by their parents, they could have or would have believed her and not necessarily Ed himself. An interesting counter theory had it that connecting a prior event with Ed, as he mauled and destroyed Jimmy's stuffed animal Mr. Yum Yums, and Ed's parents later learned about what had occurred and punished him as a result.